everybody, what's happening? So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys a basic strategy that I use, really that I believe anybody could pick up on. Definitely will say if you're a beginner, I think this is something you can use. You will just have to be very mindful of other elements along the way because, you know, structure is different, right? We know that structure is different. We know it's going to form in different styles. So when it's different, we know we have to analyze it a different way, right? That's a lot of difference, but let me show you guys what I mean here. So I like to use simple trends and counter trend trading style. So what we have here, and this is marked up from last week. So seeing here, I always mark my trend line from the lowest point to the next high. So a rule of thumb I like to say about this is, you know, oftentimes people would like adjust their trend line to here. By all means, you can do that if you want. I find it to be more accurate for what I really want to look for when it comes to entries when I go off the next low. So being that this is my higher low, or a low here, I should say, and according to price going up here, we have a higher low. This is what I'm going to mark it off. I'm going to mark it simply off of this low here, and then I'm just going to extend that trend line out, right? Same principle I apply for my counter trend line. I start from the high here, and then I extend it all the way down here because we have a bunch of times where price has rejected from this level, right? So this is how I use, this is typically what I use when it comes to entries. So what now I look for next is, okay, is price rejecting or is it bouncing off? And the reason I like to say this is because oftentimes, especially when I have counter trend lines and a normal trend line here, one thing I look for, and I've noticed price will do, especially if it's following structure and bouncing off and rejecting off of trend lines, you know, just forward and resistance, is if you notice, I like to tell this, and I like to use this example for my students, is if you notice when price gets down lower and lower, it gets smaller and smaller when it bounces off, you know, price rejected here to here to here to here. And now we see that price is eventually like getting smaller and smaller. And what I like to use as an example is saying like eventually there will be a breakout, right? A breakout is imminent, right? So once these are crossed, so once I have my trend lines that not just cross here, but price is rejecting nicely out for each point, it's telling me like, hey, we should have a pretty nice break pretty soon. And we see that we had a nice break to the upside on AUD USD. I believe this was Friday when this happened, or no, this was Thursday night, I believe, when this happened. We see we have a nice, beautiful break to the upside. Oftentimes, I notice people will like just get in the trade here and buy. And keep in mind, when it comes to this market, you'll have times when you get lucky. You'll have times when you know, you enter in just the thought of, oh, I don't want to miss all this. But I'll be completely honest, even by this candle here, depending on what would, you know, depending on that time frame I'm looking at, I most likely just wait. And I like to wait because I keep my trend line here to see price do what? Come back down, reject off price here again. So it made a bit of a head and shoulder that we're seeing here and whatnot. If you don't know what head and shoulder is, if I can move that. Okay, hold on, guys, real quick. So head and shoulder. So we have a bit of a pattern here. Head. Then we have boom, second shoulder here. So we could potentially see a break to the downside. But now what I'm looking for, and this is why I keep my trend lines here. Now what I'm looking for is to see if price either A rejects off here. And this is where multiple confirmations come in. And I really want to stress this to you guys to keep this in mind when you're trading, is when price does come here, we see like, hey, confirmation number one, price rejects to this area. Like we're just saying in case it does. Like price rejects to this area, it's waking off, it wants to go to the upside. Confirmation number two, it created a higher low based off of price here. Right. And in most cases here, I would say I personally do see a head and shoulder appearing, but this is why I keep my counter trend line in play, because in the case that price does break through, now I'm going to wait to see if price is going to break down here and reject off my counter trend line here, to which this point I would go in for a buy in this case. And multiple confirmations I would have here is not only is it creating a full head and shoulder because it's finishing the neck. Well, we have our second shoulder here, but it's equivalent to what was the neckline. But we also have where is my tool? I'm sorry, guys. We also have a level right here perfectly where price rejects here 1, 2, 3, 4 times as of right now, and potentially 5. So it's rejecting off my counter trend line as well as my level as well. So this would be another confirmation I would have to get in for that buy. And in most cases here, when other confirmations I like to work are simple candlesticks. So it could be a morning star. It could be a tweezer bottom, really any bullish pattern that's really signifying that price wants to go back up and whatnot. But this is what I definitely am noticing right now for AUD USD. The market is about to open up in a few hours. But by the time you see this video, maybe a few days. But this is just a simple breakdown. There's a lot more into it that I definitely use, but I do want to just keep a very basic understanding of this, that I simply just use the counter trend line, the trend line, and I let price reject, and I use support and resistance levels to depict where's it going to go. Other things I keep in mind are those lows and highs. So for example, let's extend this out a little bit. So for example, if price does break through, now I'm gonna tell you guys what I would really do. So if price were to break through and it create a new low, which is, and anything is possible in the market, but if we're to create a new low here, the next thing I'm gonna do without moving my lines, I'm not gonna get rid of my lines. I'm gonna still keep my counter trend line, and I'm gonna keep my what was support is now resistance, because now if price were to come to say this level here, reject here, boom, I can get in for a sell. If price were to come to this level here, I could potentially get a sell, but I won't get in just yet. I might. This one can be an iffy one, because if price were to come to this level here and push to the downside, that could be a lot of profit, or it could just be making a small like bounce to the top, bouncing on the outside of my counter trend line, to which in this case, I'd want to get it in for a buy at this point. So in this case here for a sell, truth be told, I would wait for not only price to reject off this area, but I would want to see a break. I'd want to see a breakthrough here in an impossible retest, then get back in for that sell. So this is just a few examples of what I'm seeing, what I got going on, but really just give you guys a clear, in-depth idea of what my strategy is. I kind of use multiple strategies. It really just depends on the structure of the market. So hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully this was something simple, something you could take away from. Yeah, I know counter trend trading and trend lines and all that is out there, but hopefully I was able to break this down in a more simpler way, or maybe something maybe you haven't even seen or at least noticed before. When it comes to counter trend lines and trend lines. So that's just all I have for this video for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys got value from this video. Be sure to comment, subscribe, and like the video. Let me know what else you want to see. Let me know what you think. Let me know how else I can improve for you guys, because that's one thing I love to do, is look for room of improvement. So until then, guys, I will see you all in the next video, guys. Peace.